Welcome back guys, I'm also trying to play some other games beside Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and in this video I will show you my real experience and my honest opinion about Marvel's Avengers. I will present you everything I came across in my 20 hours playthrough. There are also some moments where this game really shines, but there are also a lot of bad moments. The first real odd moment happens whenever you fire up the game. Just listen to this for a couple of seconds. I don't know how you see this, but if a game has these audio errors just for trying to reach the server or make a connection to the server, that's not really promising for a game. But if you don't mind hearing that sound every time you start the game, then let's go for it. The first mission is already a complete disaster. You are given control of the least favorite Avenger of all the 6 available, which is Kamala, and the only thing you have to do in the first section of the mission, you have to collect some comics. But that's easier than said, because the camera is so freaking annoying. It is really nowhere near a AAA title. The camera just accelerates too fast or too slow, just clunky, and it's just dispositioning and not really good. The camera is really awful in this game, and during some conversations it is also placed in awful positions and you can't really change it, and that really destroys a lot of the experience of the game. I tried a lot to find out a good setting here for the controls, for the camera, for the X and Y axis. Maybe it's just because I played on console, but this is the control setting I came up with, and it is nowhere near as satisfying as for other games I have played. The good thing is you don't have to stick around with Kamala for a very long time. You will actually get hands on every Avenger which is available in the game, just to get them taken away from you right after the first mission. So you may have found your favorite Avenger with the best moves that suits you the most during the first mission, and then they are taken away. I mean, I can totally understand that the whole campaign is just about rebuilding the Avengers team and get everybody back into the team. But it would be so much more fun that if we could just choose our favorite Avenger and build the team up with them and have a complete story just focus around them. But let me first point out some good things about the campaign. It is actually really enjoyable to find the rundown carrier, to walk around, find some stuff, repair things, and see it transform to a really cool mission base where you can start your missions. You will get crew members, you will get vendors inside the carrier, and all this is really great. You see that carrier really coming to life again, and there's even a combat simulator called the Harm Training Room. This is kind of a holographic training room where you can beat up all your enemies and train your new moves you have just learned. I have never been really good at Street Fighter or beat 'em up games, but the moves here in this game are really not so easy to do. There's a lot of stuff you can just unlock and they require a certain combination of buttons to press. And some others can only be used in certain combinations with dodge or evasion moves, and that's really hard to master, I think. It's not something you can do in a couple of hours when you just go through the campaign. You have to really dedicate your work to master your Avenger. We have had other melee games in the past like Star Wars Fallen Order that had done a tremendous better job at this, at simplifying all the abilities in an easy to use move. But this is just overwhelming you in this game. On top of that, you are most likely not even going to use many of your new abilities or moves anyway, because there's just no much time to unlock them during the story. The story is oftentimes so hard-coded, so scripted that you have to stick to a certain Avenger to complete the mission. And since you consistently get new Avengers, which are all low level when you get them, you sometimes don't meet the requirements for the next missions. So you either have to grind or turn down the difficulty level. The consistent change between all the heroes also lead to another problem, because you will level them up really slowly. You can't even stick to one character and level it up to unlock new moves. Instead you are forced to switch, which will prevent you from leveling up and getting new abilities for your characters. There are all these menus with new abilities, with new moves. We even have mastery abilities which unlock certain abilities that regenerate your hero abilities faster and stuff like that. I would really love to unlock them, but I don't get ability points to do so. I just have to switch my heroes and I cannot level up, I cannot get new moves with them. So you basically have to stick around with your base abilities for the whole campaign, which really sucks. The game shows you all these wonderful options, but you will have finished it long ago before you can use them. And your power is also split into two different values. You have your hero level and your power level, but it is nowhere necessary to split that, at least for this game. The power level actually raises a lot faster because it is stick to your gear. That should have been the pace for your hero level instead. During the whole campaign you will get barely any ability points from your hero level to unlock this stuff. You have to grind really hard in the end game to get your character to work. But it really lacks the incentive or the motivation to do that. Why should I play the end game for so long just to get all the abilities that in a normal game I should have in the campaign when I enjoy the game, when I play through the game? It just feels like the whole campaign is just a big tutorial, which is a complete design error. During the whole campaign the game still introduces new features to you step by step. You are introduced to new vendors to collect gear, materials and more. It feels like a never-ending tutorial for an endgame that nobody will ever play. I mean, probably the hardcore fans will enjoy it, they will grind for all this stuff and there are probably a good method to grind and to avoid a big grind. But if a game does not give me the motivation and the intention to unlock all this stuff, I will not continue playing it after the story. Well, the good thing is that you unlock most of the achievements or trophies throughout the whole campaign, so that's at least not wasted money here on the trophy part. But the story also has some incredible highlights. It starts off really weak with the Kamala sneaking and jump and run levels, but then it really picks up speed with the Widow levels, which had a total different graphic style, and I really enjoyed these levels very much. You will also be able to explore a space station. That is also really cool stuff, but sadly it's just in the later parts of the story. Once you can really pick your Avengers of your choice and play these missions as you want them, the game really shines and gets better and better. But to get there, you have to endure a really hard part of the game. On the other hand, you will see you fighting against the same 6 different robot types in every level in every mission. And that's boring, it's really boring. And if that's the end game, fighting against all these 6 robot types, I really quit. I'm sorry. I don't want to fight versus these robots for the rest of my life. I mean, the game's sending you endless waves throughout the story, more than needed. In some rooms you get 3 waves, 4 waves of enemies, when just 1 wave would have been totally sufficient for the story and progress. And then the reward for beating up all the robots is just that your character increased by 1 level for 1 mission. Now, since the game has 20 story missions, you could assume that your character will be level 20 by the end of the campaign. But that's simply not the case, because you consistently have to switch your characters and they will end up all being below level 10 when you finish. So you will be nowhere near the max hero level 50, you will be nowhere near the max power level, and you will be nowhere near using any of the abilities. So do we really have to play only the end game to get our characters up and running? Do we really wait for the DLCs, for another campaign, for whatever? So if that's the case, then I would rather not play the game now and wait for it until it has more content. Because what you get here is a giant tutorial of stuff without being able to use it. At least if you don't want to do the side missions all over again and again to level up. There are probably some better methods to level up, but if you don't want to use them or if they are fixed, then I'm definitely out. What also makes this game so much less fun is there's a total lack of an overworld. There's no way to meet and greet other players and there's no way to impress them with your looks. You just go there, be in a lobby, select the mission, and these missions are all over the same and the same again. Of course you can collect a ton of new gear and stuff inside these missions, but it kind of feels misplaced to have that gear system here in this kind of game. I would have really loved to dig deeper into the build system here in this game, but it really lacks my motivation to do so, because once the story is over, I would have to play the end game for more abilities, for leveling up my character, but there's nothing to explore, just playing endgame missions over and over to get better gear and explore the gear system. But it's simply not enough fun if there's not a deep dive overworld, if there's no interaction with other players. This game really wants to be too much of an RPG, which it doesn't need. The game is just too shallow to have all this stuff. And if you still dare to try the endgame or online multiplayer stuff, then be prepared, because you have to register a Square Enix account and confirm your email address and then confirm again your email address with a code to register and play online. Just damn, why is it so damn complicated to do that? I just want to play the game, and why the hell do you need my email address? My whole online experience was just topped by waiting for 10 minutes in the matchmaking for another player, who then occasionally had the same hero. The game dropped me out and crashed. So I guess there's still a lot of work to do on Square Enix side, but at least they got my email address and they can notify me once they've fixed it. So I will probably not get my money back by just making a single video about Marvel's Avengers, but I can still prevent you from wasting your money, at least for the full price of this game, so you better wait for it to get cheaper or just avoid it at all. There will be much better games until the end of the year which are much more worth spending your money on. So I hope this review was helpful. I hope I wasn't too harsh about the game. It's still a game you can play if you want, but you don't have to. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like, and see you next time.